Magnificent afternoon and wonderful evening. This is Carla from Rehan Allahwala's World of Connections. And today I have the honor to interview Seher Baloch. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. And we will learn about her life, her work, and her passions. I want to remind you that this show is sponsored by Rehan Allahwala's Institute of Peace, which is an online organization promoting peace one conversation at a time. Seher, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Carla, for a warm welcome. I must say I appreciate your energy and I hope I'll be able to match up to it. So if I tell you a bit about where I am from, I am situated in Balochistan, which is the southwestern province state of Pakistan. And we share a border with both with Iran and Afghanistan. I grew up in the valley of Quetta, which is the capital city of the province. But this part of Pakistan is different from the other capital cities, such as Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi, which most foreigners may have heard of. Different in a sense that it's not a very big or developed city. It's a dry, arid, mountainous region where originally tribes survived on cattle grazing. It still retains its closed tribal culture and has a diverse population comprising of Baloch and the Hazara communities, which have strong ties with the bordering Iran and the Pashtun community, having close relations with Afghan tribes. We have also been housing Afghan refugees for over 2 decades now. Whereas my journey is concerned, I grew up with my maternal family, where I happened to be the first child of the generation. So I was the most beloved child in the family. My grandparents were very generous and kind people. I am so grateful, so grateful for the kind of love that I have received from them. I have over 2,000 photographs of my childhood, and it feels as if I have seen myself grow up. And my mother, she was also a teacher. She took up a teaching job at a school nearby, and she enrolled me in a convent school, the best at the time. I had no siblings, so I would jump at every opportunity that I would get to play or to socialize. And I didn't realize how and when I started teaching, but I do remember that I would help friends understand concepts even on the telephone. And I am reminded by my family of the occasions when I would send homework to my friend's house if they were absent, like at the school. So I guess I have been a teacher for earlier than I could recall myself. And but I formally started teaching after my master's. I gave my master's exams, and then I joined an academy to study for state's competitive exam. And then from there on, in 2013, with a group of friends at an academy that I had volunteered to set up as well. So I started teaching there formally. And then from there on, there was no looking back. Now I have over a decade of formal teaching experience, out of which the last 8 years have been at the Department of English, Butham's University, Quetta. And within a year or so, of my university job, I applied and secured a few scholarships for another master's degree abroad. And among the choices that I had was the prestigious Fulbright Award, which I then went for and studied globalization and educational change, which comes under comparative and international education, for 2 years in the US. And apart from this, I have a passion for traveling. So during my 21-month stay in the US, I visited 40 states, had a trip to London for New Year's, and also managed to graduate as well. So I did this Route 66 from the east to the west coast across America. And I visited the Smoky Mountains, the Desert Valley, Lake Tahoe, and many national parks, Yosemite, which includes also Yellowstone, the Zion National Park, I remember, was very beautiful. And then the Hoover Dam and the Great Canyon from all three sides. So I went crazy and I traveled from Madison, Wisconsin, Chicago, Niagara from the north to the Miami, Florida, and Austin, Texas in the south, and to the waterfalls of Portland. So I did it all. I went everywhere, and I stopped and drove almost over 209 cities, according to my Google travel map count. So that had been an amazing experience. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to know how they live, different people working from different fields, and I learned a lot about American people and the life there. So it was really wonderful. And if I have to recall, one of the best things in the US was that people would always offer first what they can do for me before asking me for a favor. And people would genuinely be respectful of others' time, hence their own time, and would try to do the task now and keep the system moving rather than telling somebody to come back later. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate. And then there were many other things that I learned. For example, coming from a third world country, a lot of us who don't have international exposure, we think that
one
yes, please.
favor. Right now, you look straight at me into the camera. I want you to do that for the rest of the interview. We want to see your face. We want you to grow in confidence. So,
okay, I actually have
perfect. You're doing a great job now. Go on. Look into the camera so we can see your beautiful face.
Actually, I have two devices working for me, so I was not sure where to look. Is it fine now?
Okay, you're perfect now. Go on.
So I was just saying that coming from a third world country, and when we don't have a lot of international experience and exposure, we tend to think that maybe the first world countries won't have any problems. But that is a perception that changed when I attended my very first it was a session on sex trafficking, and I came to know that no matter if it's a first world country or a third world country, every country has its own problems. So America also has a lot of problems. I saw a lot of homeless people there, and the prisons were overfilled with the overflowing the capacity, and they had these air mattresses to just accommodate more people. So that was kind of a shock to me at first. And then I realized that the South has been blindly following, thinking that the Western models are just perfect. But the global North is not very different than the global South. It's just that they have gotten a head start on things, and our countries got independence later on. So we are just on that journey. And we have all a lot to learn from one another and to repeat the mistakes of the systems that have already been tried and tested. So these were a few of my experiences and learnings and perceptions that changed. And
go on.
And comparing the education systems, so interestingly, the universities here in Pakistan previously used to offer a master's in English literature only. And then same graduates would become teachers of the English language. So even today, the students who enroll in the BS English programs, they think that they would be learning English language first, which is a huge misconception. And the screening and placement methods at the admissions is so ill-suited that the students suffer for the next few years. They either drop out or they lose their confidence that they're not good enough, they're not able to compete, or later they switch to other programs if they are not sensible to realize their aptitude themselves at first. So later on, they sometimes leave a program in the middle and then they switch to another discipline. So we do see language, but in America, I did see language assistance programs being offered for international students before they started with their degrees. So I would suggest that here also in Pakistan, because English is a foreign language for Pakistanis too. So I suppose that a language assistance course before the start of the BS or master's degree should be offered to the students here, so that they would not face any issues later on. So, so after my return from US, I have been working on a few educational programs to empower youth in Balochistan through career counseling and through various educational awareness programs, scholarship mentoring, employment tests and interview preparations. And I've also submitted several proposals for improvement to the university with the help of another colleague, among which multi-million rupees language learning lab proposal has been nominated for funding as well. So that was one success among the many proposals that we tried to suggest to the university. So I hope that it will get materialized because we don't have any language lab at the university. So then with a team of 5 people, I started a school at the beginning of this year, which has over 200 students. So it provides quality education in a very populated and neglected area of the city. And I will keep serving it as an advisory board member. But we have a whole group of people, a team working for it. So I don't want to just stick to one program and be there because I want to initiate and I want to bring in more people who want to do similar work and who are interested to contribute back, but they kind of don't know how to make it happen. So I just mobilize people, I form teams, and then something works out, and we go along this whole step by step, you can say, system. We work out things, we sometimes change plans, but at the end we do end up with something which might not be as we had planned at the beginning, but it happens. So that then gives me motivation to start another program. So this is school. It kind of secured 200 students. So it shows that how much it was needed in that area. So it was just a success. We just had to initiate it, and people started just pouring in, and it became a success. So that is something which gave me a lot of motivation this year. And then another thing that I noted is that unfortunately we don't have a single online testing center in Balochistan where student could attempt GRE or TOEFL tests. So students, they have to travel to another city to attempt GRE or TOEFL. That costs around 30,000 PKR now each, and plus the traveling and lodging costs. And it's even harder for a female candidate because she has to bear the cost of the person she's taking along, because she cannot travel alone. So she has to pay more than a male student who would be attempting these tests. So it has become really hard for students to apply for scholarships or to study abroad programs. So I'm trying to establish this center because we already have a fully and very newly furnished computer lab at the school. So it would be great if we could organize and arrange these tests to be conducted there. So this is something that I'm thinking about to do in the near future, hopefully, if things went well. So that would be a great service for the youth of Balochistan, that they would not have to spend a fortune to just apply to programs abroad. And I hope it will give them a lot of more opportunities. Then I also co-initiated another educational institute this August that is called Balochistan House of Learning, with 2 graduate students from Butham's University and an old colleague and friend. So the institute offers language and computer literacy classes at the moment. Further trying to acquire funding for a project to teach the English language for free to 100 deserving kids transitioning from Urdu medium schools to higher education, where English language is the medium of instruction. So Urdu is Pakistan's national language, and the country has multiple schooling systems. So students find it hard coming from Urdu medium school, and then they have to transition to English language all of a sudden, and they don't understand the terminology, the jargons which are being used, and they're not dull students, they're good students, but just because they don't know the language, so it becomes hard for them to understand and to grasp the concepts. So they often drop out. So we conceptualized this program to help make this transition easy for the students and to reduce the dropout rates. So this is something that we are working towards uh, through this Balochistan House of Learning Institute. So we have a few funds that we have located, people who want to work for education and they're looking for these community organizations. So we have pitched our proposal to them. Then another project is also in the pipeline, that is the community-based organization that would work to empower, again, Balochistan, supporting education, health, and livelihood. This concept or this idea originated after the flood crisis that Pakistan recently faced. So there were several organizations banned owing to the corruption, leaving a huge vacuum to be filled in. So we thought that it's a great opportunity. So this is then another team of 15 young, very motivated people. Few of them, they have experience working for several NGOs. So last Saturday, we had this meeting and now we are in the process of getting this organization registered. So hopefully once it will get registered, so we'll be able to work on ground and people are, I just see people sitting and they are not satisfied with the works of the NGOs, or they want to do so much and then they're kind of helpless and they don't know what to do. So they just need somebody to channelize their energies in a proper direction. So that's where I come in. That's my role. I just bring in these people and then I work with the help of my other friends who are in the government. They have been working on several projects to just form these teams who can work on whatever their goals are, but all of them, they just want to uplift Balochistan and empower Balochistan's youth. So, so I hope that this will be another addition to the bouquet of these organizations and institutes that we are trying to root in the soil of Balochistan. And I remember in my Fulbright interview, I was asked that why I would want to return to Balochistan if it's so tough there, if it's so backward. It is the largest province by area in Pakistan, but the least literate one, and the least populated as well. And it's a mountainous, arid region, so commute is difficult and access is difficult. So I told them that I see it as more opportunity it has for improvement and to work for. So I would like to invite people through your platform, Carla, for them to come and contribute if they are interested, and connect with me or other like-minded people to create and find opportunities here. But
in teaching English, I have been told that all over Pakistan, people are learning how to read and write. And we know that when we begin speaking, when we begin learning our native language, we begin with speaking. Do you think that teaching English becomes very difficult and because of a lack of confidence in speaking?
Carla, in the context of Pakistan, it's very true because are we were colonized by the Britishers. So English is being able to speak English is known to be a status symbol, and people are mocked at if they don't speak correct English. Whereas we are better at English comparatively than we may be at many other international languages like Chinese or French or Spanish, but we are not mocked when we try and learn any of those languages. We are actually encouraged, and people are amazed if you know another international language. But when it comes to English, so people have this bias, and people just see it as a status symbol, and then they look down upon people who cannot communicate in English. So yes, this is one of the reasons that people don't have confidence, so they don't try and speak. So when they don't try, they don't learn.
Right.
I remember there was, yes, please.
Go on.
Yeah. So I remember that there was this student. We teachers, we try everything just to make our students speak. So sometimes we just encourage them, but sometimes you just have to use other means as well. So once I told them that I will find them every time they will speak in Urdu in English class. And can you believe me that there was a student, he just kept a bundle of rupees with him that he will refuse to speak English at all. And he'll just keep giving me those rupees that he had, and he would speak in Urdu. He'll continue to speak in Urdu. And then I realized that it would not work for him. So, so yes, we have to develop these safe spaces. We have to develop these communities where people would, students especially, would feel safe at the educational institutions at least, because they don't get to speak English when they go home. Most of them don't even are exposed to media in English, like they don't watch Netflix. I'm just talking about the average population. The ones who are more educated or have more access to things, all of them, we all have Netflix at home. We all are connected to the global community. But the average Pakistani, they just watch national television. They read Urdu newspapers. They don't have siblings or parents who know English at home or would speak. So our educational institutions are the only place where they get to speak in English. So the teachers should make them comfortable. And I think the mode of learning will have to change as well. And it should be more discussion oriented, where everybody could participate. And we'll have to make students learn that mocking is not a good thing. And they can have fun and at many other things, so they don't have to make fun of people who are not speaking correct English. So, but things are changing very slowly and gradually. They are changing. So we are hopeful.
Well, you know what? You made it very easy for me to do this. You have been speaking for over 30 minutes without me needing to say anything. And it's been very instructional. I want to thank you so very, very much. Is there anything you want our audience to go away with from this interview?
I would just like people to be more open-minded, to be more flexible, and to be kind towards themselves and towards other people, because we don't know what another person has gone through, what their journey is. So, though I have also highlighted a couple of things, all my accomplishments here and the good work that I'm doing, but I also have a backstory. I have also been through a lot. So, similarly, other people, they also go through a lot. So, my message is that just be kind towards people. And I would like to thank Rehan Sahab that he actually motivated me to come forward and to agree to do this interview. And it's my very first. So I have been shy. I've never done it before, but I'm happy that I went along with it. And I would like to thank you, Carla. Thank you so much for providing the platform and becoming a part of this new journey in my mission. So from here on, I would be communicating with people more on social media. So you've given me a very good start, a very pleasant experience. Thank you so much.
And thank you for what you just said and what you have shared with me. It was extremely interesting and also very entertaining in some areas. I want to thank Rehan for making this connection and thank those who watched this interview. It was so nice to do. And we will be back again with more interviews. Seher, it's been very, very nice getting to know you. I want to remind people to thank the Institute of Peace for promoting these interviews. And we're going to wave goodbye. Can you wave goodbye with me, Seher? Bye, everyone.